Hello, I want to do a quick video for you to help you with the two manoeuvres of bay parking, reverse bay parking, and then the reverse parallel park. I think it will be useful to watch this video because what I'm encouraging you to do is to develop a system of doing this which is going to be meaningful to you. You know, if you don't get a meaningful method of doing it, you tend to either forget how to do it, and that's not good for life after passing a driving test. You need to have a dependable way of doing something with these manoeuvres. So let's have a look at them. The reverse parallel park, let's have a look at this one here first of all. Now you see there's two different ways. This is the real life way, isn't it? We're parking between, we are reversing into the space there. If you were to try and do this going in forwards, it'd be extremely difficult to do. That's why we do it reversing in, because the front wheels are the wheels that are moving, so we kind of like get the rear of the car in first of all. And then this method here is when this is what happens on the driving test actually. As long as you finish off within 2 car lengths, that's absolutely fine. But the point I want to try and raise with you is the angle at which you're coming into the curb. It differs, doesn't it, for the two different methods of doing this. I would advocate practicing this to begin with and then moving on to this, because this is the more challenging, it's less forgiving, this is much calmer. So although this is to do with the driving test, it really is pretty meaningless in real life, whereas this is what all of us need to be able to do in real life, day-to-day driving. So because the angle of that you're coming into the curb, it comes down to, if you can control the pace of the vehicle as you're reversing, if you can control it so that it's the same, it comes down to experimenting with when do you need to start steering and how much steering do you need to put on. A little tip for you, by the way, is if you're wondering which way to turn the steering wheel, when you come up to level with the parked car there, pause for a second and just look over your shoulders. Where do you want the rear of the car to go? Which direction do you want the rear of the car? Look over both your shoulders. Oh, okay, I want it to go there, because that's the way you then need to steer the steering wheel, turn the steering wheel towards the direction that you've seen. So have a look over both and work it out. To put the clutch down for a second and work it out. Take 5 seconds out just to work out, because then you're going to start the manoeuvre turning the steering wheel in the right way. Not the end of the world if you got it wrong, but if it's nice to have a method by which you get a consistent result. If you just look at mirrors, then mirrors transpose the image, you tend to steer the incorrect way. Another thing, of course, is when you're pulling up alongside this parked car, is don't get too close to it. Manage risk whenever you're driving around. Manage risk. Why would you want to be getting too close to the parked car? So anyway, that's to do with which way do I need to turn the steering wheel. Nice observations. Don't rely on mirrors, and then that will get you going in the right direction initially. And then it will come down to at what point do I now need to start steering in the opposite direction. If we were to call this, look, I'm going to use a phrase here, opening the door. I don't mean opening the door of the car. I'm just saying literally the angle at which we're coming in. Look, if that's called opening the door and then coming back, this is called closing the door. That bit where you do that there, look, the front end comes back in again. And this is quite important kind of concept to get into your mind, really, because the extent at which you open the door is going to control how tight you're coming into the curb, and then that will also affect the extent that you need to steer so as you can then close the door. Of course, this method here is much kind of, because it's much calmer, because that sort of degree of that amount of steering that's required, it's not quite so important. You see, you've got much more leeway, but it's just kind of not meaningful. This is what we're doing every day in our driving. Well, maybe not every day, but if we're doing a reverse parallel park between 2 cars, this is the way we're doing it. So play around with that. Don't forget your observations while you're reversing. We generally need to be making sure that what we're doing and the direction we're travelling is safe. We need to be looking around us, making effective observations, controlling the speed of the vehicle, so that you can then experiment with when do I need to start steering, and how much steering do I need to put on. And you'll notice there is a difference between those two with regards to how much steering and when to do it. And if you just give yourself a chance to, an opportunity to do that in a nice quiet area where you're not having to be troubled with distractions of other vehicles and pedestrians, do it in a nice quiet area, you will start to see the connection there, and this will make it much more meaningful to you and helpful for you, so that you can do that for the rest of your driving life. And then coming on to the reverse bay park, so kind of similar thing really. Look at the amount of steering that is required to get into that bay compared to the amount of steering that's required to get into that bay. Think about the timing of when do I need to start steering, how much steering do I need to put on, which way do I need to steer. It's a similar theme, you know, and just experiment with that as well. This my other video, it's the most viewed video actually in the whole channel. It shows you that there are actually more options to do reverse bay parking than just this, but I just wanted to mention this because it kind of is related to the other manoeuvre in terms of the extent of the steering and the timing of it. You see, some people get the timing fairly naturally, you know, they have this spatial awareness and it comes, and other people don't have that, and they need a bit of a hand to work out at what point do I need to start steering, and it's absolutely fine. My point here is, with this video, is try to experiment with it so that it's actually meaningful to you. If you're doing things and it's not really kind of connecting with you, you're just kind of doing it but you're not really sure why, you're going to be you won't be inclined to do that once you've passed your driving test, because you didn't buy into it in the first place. So it sort of pays, you know, in order to get confidence when you're driving around, it pays to have a system, a method by which it's going to work for you. Okay, I hope that's useful anyway. Any questions at all, as ever, just put them down below.